Wow. Well, thank you. Thank you for joining us here. And I am very excited, as I always am, about this event and about the tremendous people that the Utah VBRC has brought to us today from a lot of acronyms, but we are veterans. We're part of the veteran community, so we can handle this. We're bringing some heavy hitters from the SBA, and it's really an honor for me to be able to be just play a little bit of a role in all of this. And with that, I just want to, Becky's going to talk here in a few seconds to thank all of our sponsors. But I do want to thank just a small part. I want to thank the Institute for Veterans and Military Families for the things that they're doing out there for the veteran community. And if you're interested in learning more about what they're doing or potentially becoming an IVMF ambassador, which the applications will start to open up again in March, you can head over to ivmf.syracuse.edu. And that's just my little thank you to them, as I'm an ambassador for them, and so is Becky. But let's get on to the real sponsors and presenters and people that are awesome. Becky, I'm going to be quiet now. You were on mute. It happens.
It's not a webinar if we're having technology issues. No, I'm happy to be here.
We're glad everyone's here because I fat fingered the link earlier, so some people might not be here that wanted to be here.
Well, I'm trying to get them on. We're really grateful for you all to be in here today, and we're excited for those who are on here. Please know this is an interactive thing. You can drop comments. You can ask questions as we're going. We do ask you to be respectful in your comments, though. And this is business focused. This is a strategy stack. This is the strategy stack for the VBRC, for the military chapter of Silicon Slopes. And we are excited to bring on John Gigi. Oh, you're gonna have to correct me on your name, John. I'm so sorry. And then Jerry Godwin with us to talk about things, all SBA. So this is the SBA Intel Drop. We're cutting out the fluff. We're really diving into what is real for small business in 2026. And these are two powerhouse experts that know everything that you need to know in order to work with the SBA. They'll have some good information, some programs. We have access to some of these folks that we can get you to the right door to help you move forward with SBA. So with that, let's bring on John and Jerry. Hey, John.
Hey, Becky.
Sorry, I slaughtered your last name. I apologize.
It's a tough one.
But thank you for being on here. So John is with our Utah. He's the SBA District Counsel for our State of Utah District Office, and Jerry Godwin is with the SBA Office of Veteran Business Development, and he's coming to us from not Chicago. Ryan's in Chicago, but Jerry's in DC, and so this is really across the nation. We're really excited to have this conversation for you all here. If you are curious, I'll just drop one value add here for both of you. There's ways to get started to prepare to meet with a business advisor, and the SBA has some of those learning modules on their website. We'll drop those links in the chat as they talk. But John, I'm going to turn the time to you, and then Jerry will have you introduce both of you guys can introduce yourselves, and we'll get going.
Well, thanks, Becky. Appreciate that. It's a Swiss name. It's often difficult, but we appreciate Becky and the Veterans Business Resource Center hosting us today and inviting us to come be a part of this and share this information with small businesses out there. As Becky mentioned, I'm the district counsel here in the Utah District Office. If any of you saw how far I hit a golf ball, I'm not really a heavy hitter, but I have been around for many years, and so it's been a great experience working for the SBA. And, especially here in Utah, Utah's always been had a great small business environment, always rated towards the top for business-friendly type categories. And so it's been great working with small businesses here. And hopefully this will be valuable for all of you listening. So anyway, next slide. So SBA is a federal government agency. Probably most of you are aware of that. We were established over 70 years ago. And you can see our mission statement there to help people plan, launch, manage, and grow their business. That mission remains the same all these years later. The way we handle that changes from time to time. So we like to keep everyone up to date on what our current programs and services are and what our focus areas are. So next slide. So to make it easy for people to understand what programs and services we have, we think of it in terms of the 3 C's. We have our counseling programs, which are a little lesser known. We have our capital programs, or our loan programs, for which we're more popularly known, and then our contracting services. So next slide. So on the counseling end, Becky barely touched upon this, but we have various resource partners throughout the state that help us and help small businesses. These resource partners have free counseling and mentoring, so that's great for our small businesses. They have many training opportunities. Some of them are free, usually low cost, and you can see some of the areas in which they can help small businesses start and grow. They offer advice in many different areas of small business ownership. Next slide. The first and our biggest resource partner, of course, is our Small Business Development Center network. And that's a partnership between the SBA. We're the biggest funder of that. And we partner with the Governor's Office of Economic Opportunity, also known as GOEO. And then these are located mostly at higher ed institutions around the state, and they provide some matching funds. And so we have these 11 regional centers, and hopefully there's one close to most of our small businesses. One of the great things that the SBDCs have implemented lately is their Entrepreneur Academy, which can be accessed through the SBDC's net website there that I've listed. That Entrepreneur Academy, it's all virtual. They provide a lot of great training modules and programs that you can go through and learn a lot about small business. Next slide. Then we have our women's business centers. They're mainly focused on women-owned businesses, although they can help male-owned businesses as well. And that's a partnership between SBA and the Salt Lake Chamber. And we now have 2 of these centers in the state. One's here in Salt Lake City and the other's down south in Cedar City. We have a counselor in Moab. So they have a presence around the state. They do a lot of virtual counseling to make it accessible. And they created a cool women-owned business directory lately that can be accessed there at their website that I've listed. Next slide. A couple other counseling options. SCORE, they've been around for a long time, supported by SBA. They have volunteer mentors. We have a chapter here in our state. We've got various counselors around the state, and they do a lot virtually now too, and they have some great training opportunities. And those volunteers are usually former business owners or people who've been in the business world and know a lot of things about that. We have our Veterans Business Opportunity Center, and Jerry may be able to touch on this a little bit later. Ours is located in Montana. We would really like one in Utah. We've been pitching for one, I think, and hopefully we can land one at some point. So we have one local. And of course, along with that, we have our Veterans Business Resource Center, Becky and her group, who do a great job partnering with us. And they're actually co-located there with our Small Business Development Center that I mentioned earlier. So there's a lot of great counseling opportunities there at the mill at the community college. And finally, our online learning center. So you can go right online and go through some modules that SBA itself has created. And there's the link for that. And I believe that Becky's going to pass out a PDF of this presentation, so you'll have all this information. Next slide. So now on to our more well-known programs, our loan programs that provide capital to small businesses that may not be able to get it otherwise through conventional financing for various reasons. Maybe they're fairly new, maybe they need longer terms than a bank can provide, or maybe they just don't have collateral that's needed. Next slide. So there's many benefits to borrowers from having SBA loans because they're very reasonable terms, maybe lower down payments, as I said, longer repayment terms. Maybe if you don't have a lot of collateral, it doesn't have to be 100% collateralized, no demand or balloon features, just a lot of benefits to an SBA loan. Next slide. And these are our main programs. And there's some subsets of these, but we have our 7A loan program, our 504, Community Advantage, microloans. And small businesses will avail themselves of different ones of these products throughout their life cycle. Maybe they'll start with a microloan, progress to a Community Advantage, and then a 7A. And so they'll have a lot of experience with these SBA loans through the life cycle. Next slide. Basically, to be eligible, you have to be small, and that can be based on revenues or number of employees, depending on what your NAICS code is. I would say that a high percentage of businesses do fit the definition of small. So don't be fooled into thinking, well, I have 200 employees. Well, you may well still be within our size standards. You have to be for-profit and operating. We don't lend to passive investment type businesses. It has to be U.S. based, and actually now all the ownership has to be located in the U.S. And then credit unavailable elsewhere on reasonable terms. So that's the basic eligibility requirements. Next slide. We'll look at these various factors in evaluating a loan application. The most important thing is repayment ability. Can you show reasonable projections based on some research that show you can repay and make those monthly loan payments? We'll look at what your management history is, your character and credit. The least important thing, like I said before, is collateral. It doesn't have to be 100% collateralized. So next slide. So our main loan program is called our 7A guaranteed loan program. So this is basically where a financial institution makes a loan, and most of the banks and credit unions in Utah participate in our programs. They've been very good. We've had a very active market, especially, in the credit union area, surprisingly. But anyway, these lending institutions are the ones who actually, you apply through them, you give your loan application documents to them, they review it, and then they get our approval to guarantee it. And so if it ever goes bad, we'll buy them out on the back end. And like I said before, there's longer maturities, which stretches out the length of payments and reduces your monthly payment. We have competitive interest rates there. So next slide. We can go up to $5 million on these loans. We have longer maturities than other conventional loans, and you can see the maturities of various types of loans, depending on what type it is. Next slide. The proceeds of this kind of loan can be used for basically anything. You can see there working capital, you buy personal property, real property, debt refinance. You can do it to change ownership or purchase an existing business. Just a lot of different ways you can use the funds for a 7A loan. Next slide. We do have express loans that are just a little quicker. If it's $500,000 or less, it gets processed faster if you need your money a little bit faster. Next slide. We do have 3 different loan products for people interested in exporting abroad. It's selling to the world market. It's a big market and a lot of opportunities there. We have our international trade loans, which is a type of 7A guaranteed loan. Our Export Express, which can be a term or a revolving line of credit, and then our working capital program. So we do have export specialists. So if anybody's interested in kind of tapping into these types of programs, we can get you in touch with them and have you work with them. Next slide. Now I wanted to highlight this because, and I'll talk about this a little later, one of the focuses of the administration is manufacturers. And so they just developed this new subset of the 7A loan program, manufacturers access to revolving credit. We call it the MARC loan. And it's specifically for working capital. And again, it's flexible and it can be a term loan or a revolving line of credit. It can go up to $5 million, just like regular 7A loans. So if you're in one of the NAICS codes, that's starts with 31, 32, or 33. That's we consider those manufacturers, and you can avail yourselves of this program. Next slide. Then we have our 504 loan program, which is kind of for more fixed asset finance, bigger projects, like if you're purchasing land and building, constructing buildings, large heavy duty equipment. So what happens here is the borrower injects 10 or 20%. These can go up to 5 million, like a 7A, but for manufacturers and go up to 5.5 million. So there's a special kicker there. The great thing about this is the SBA portion of this can be drawn out over 20 to 25 years at a fixed rate. So and it's usually pretty good market competitive rate, and you get that fixed. Next slide. We have four CDCs, what we call certified development companies. We certify them that operate this program for us in the state. Here are our two main ones that are actually located here. And so basically they administer the program, you apply through them, work with them, and then SBA approves it, and then a debenture is sold to private investors, which funds the project. And again, for manufacturers, right now, the upfront guarantee fee and annual service fee is waived to give them an advantage on that. Next slide. Just an example, if you find a land, and if you find some land and building that you want to move your business into, it's worth $1 million. The borrower has to come up with $100,000. A private lender, a bank or credit union, will come in with 50% or so, and then SBA through their certified development company will take the back 40%. And it's a great advantage for these private lenders because they get a first lien position, and so it's less risky for them. Next slide. Like I mentioned, we have these community advantage loans that go up to $350,000. So if you're interested in that kind of a mid-range loan, there's some of the eligibility. You have to have at least 4 employees and gross sales of 150,000 plus. We have 2 people that are qualified, 2 entities in our state, Mountain West Small Business Finance, who's one of our CDCs as well, and MoFi, who's one of our micro lenders as well, which will be on our next slide. So let's go to that. So if you're really starting out and you want something small, these are up to $50,000 microloans. And those programs, we have 2 intermediaries here, the Utah Micro Loan Fund that's been around for quite a while, and MoFi as well, that administer that program to us. So there's their contact information if you're interested in that. Next slide. Here are just the application requirements, the documentation you'll have to get together. I don't want to dive into this, but a lot of people think that, oh, it's so hard to apply for an SBA loan. It's so much paperwork. It really isn't much more than the normal conventional loan. And any of our resource partners, the SBDCs, women's business centers, can help you get this documentation together and help you apply to lenders if you need that extra help. Next slide. If you need to find a lender to work with on these programs, you can contact us at our local office. You can work through the resource partners. Like I said, we have a lender match program on our national website, and there's the link URL for that. It'll help you match with lenders that are doing projects in Utah. Or if you've been working with an existing bank or credit union all along, chances are they're participating in our programs, and just ask them if they do SBA guaranteed loans. Next slide. I mentioned the third C after counseling and capital is contracting for economically and socially disadvantaged firms. So if you're economically or socially, if you're owned by somebody that fits into that category, you can have access. You can get certified through SBA and have access to set aside contracts from federal contracting agencies. And there's some other advantages. I don't want to dive too deep into this either, but next slide. So what's the agency currently looking at? We have a new administration that came in this past year. So like I've mentioned, they're looking at assisting the manufacturing sector, made in America, the onshoring, bringing business back within our borders. One thing they've done is they've set up an onshoring platform on the national website. What that does is businesses can go on there and see if you're looking for widgets to put into your project, you can search under that and see what kind of American-based businesses are producing those and can supply those for you. It's a very rich database with tens of thousands of companies in there, and so you can try to connect with American-based businesses. I mentioned the new MARC loans that we have, and reduce fees and waive fees on 504 loans. There's legislation going through Congress right now to try to increase the loan maximum to $10 million for mostly for manufacturing businesses, but they're trying to get it for all businesses in general. They want us to increase the number of loans we're making, the amount of lending that's being done in our state. So we're going to try to get the number of lenders participating in our programs up, and also publicly educate, like we're doing today, on SBA loan programs so that small businesses are more aware of what we have to offer. And then we're trying to provide enhanced support for rural communities. So if you're located in rural areas, we're working with the rural development people at USDA and at GOEO and others to get out in the state and promote our programs. And I'll talk about that a little bit on our next slide. So let's go to the next slide, which will show what our district office activities are targeted at specifically this year here in Utah. So to hit manufacturing, Marla, who's our district director, is working with the Utah Manufacturers Association, 47G, Connex, who did that onshoring platform, to create a series of roadshows and roundtables. We'll try to do it around the state. We'll try to get out to, say, Moab or St. George down south and some other locations to let small businesses know what's available, not only for manufacturing, but SBA in general. Also create a series of webinars similar to what we have here today. We'll be doing those. And then we'll be working with higher ed institutions on workforce development. So one of the main higher ed institutes we're working with right now is Davis Tech. So we can work with them to help them develop programs that are developing the workforce that's necessary for the manufacturing sector and other important sectors. Just to tell you about our office, we're currently at 3 people right now. At the beginning of January last year, we had 8. We lost 5 people during the year, so we have been thin on resources and haven't been able to get out as much as we would like, but we are starting to hire again. We have a lender relations specialist who just started this week, and he will be working directly with our lenders on getting them active in our programs and how to connect with small businesses. We'll be getting an outreach and marketing specialist in a couple of weeks. So we're excited about that, and we'll be able to better service the state and deliver these programs and services throughout the state. And the last thing, advocacy roundtables. So we're responsible for making sure regulations aren't too harmful for small businesses. And those are regulations by any agency, not just by SBA, but any agency that's creating a regulation has to pass it through us to see what the impact is on small business. Traditionally, we have had a regional advocate located in Denver. We're fortunate that the regional advocate under this administration is here, right in Salt Lake City in our office, Trent Staggs. So he'll be going around the state. And so if you have any concerns about regulations that are hurting your small business or things that can be done to help you guys be more successful, he's a good contact for that. Next slide. I think that's about it. Here's our contact information for our district office, our phone number, and our general email. And there's a list of the staff members that we have here right now. And so feel free to contact our office whenever you have questions or need help with anything. So I think that's about it. If we want to take any questions now, or have Jerry go and we can take questions at the end, or.
Yeah, I was watching the chat. I didn't see any questions, but if you have any questions for John, let us know. We can also take questions at the end. Thank you, John. Great, wonderful information. Really appreciate it. There's a lot of info. There's a lot of resources, and if you are curious where your local district office is, each state has one. So you can go to the SBA website. We'll drop some links here in just a minute for you all so you can access these resources. But I would love to introduce you to Mr. the great illustrious Jerry Godwin. I mean, these two gentlemen, as you get to know them better, they're phenomenal people to work with. So Jerry, I'll invite you to unmute. And then Jerry is the head of the Entrepreneur Training Partners through the SBA Office of Veteran Business Development. And I would love for you to give a little bit of background on what you do and the team there and kind of dive into your presentation as well, Jerry. Thanks for being on here.
Certainly. Thank you, Becky. Can you hear me?
Yep, we can hear you.
Good. Thank you, Becky, and the Utah District Office, SBA District Office. Thank you, Becky, for organizing this event and for the invitation to speak as well. So just a little bit of background about myself. So I served, I'm a veteran, served in the Army. I was an aviation warrant officer. And also on the civilian side, I've been a tech startup entrepreneur. So when there was an opportunity to work at the SBA, I never thought I'd be in federal service, but combining those two interests of mine, which is veterans issues and entrepreneurship, it's the perfect job, and certainly enjoy and proud to be working at the SBA Office of Veterans Business Development. I'm actually originally, or my home of record is from Salt Lake City. My father was from East Mill Creek. So I have a special connection and fondness for Utah. And extra happy to be able to participate today. I will fill in. I will try not to be redundant from what John presented. So I do work at the SBA here in Washington at the Office of Veteran Business Development. We're a small office. I just want to, I do want to go back to something John said. The SBA was founded in 1953 when President Eisenhower, former Supreme Allied Commander, became president, and he was sworn in January 1953, and the SBA was created in 1953. So and looking at the time in history of what was going on after the World War in Korea, I can't help but think that President Eisenhower had veterans in mind when he created the SBA as one of the large factors for creating the SBA. OVBD, here's our vision and mission statement. Lead the transformation of America's great generation of veteran and military spouses, small business owners into powerhouse job creators and innovators. So as John stated, we provide, and that we do that through the 3 C's, counseling, capital, and contracting. It's not just members of the armed forces, veterans, Guard and Reserve. I was also in the Guard, and military spouses. So we expanded the language to include military spouses. So our office was set up by public laws and statutes, which state that we must provide these entrepreneurial business services for our nation's veterans and members of the armed forces and military spouses. So we're in law. We're set up by law and for continuity. Here's some numbers of veteran-owned businesses. About 1.62 million veteran businesses in the United States, creating a lot of jobs, right? 3.25 million approx, right? And Mark basically creating 983 billion dollars of receipts generated by VOSBs, veteran-owned small businesses. I don't know about you, but that's a big chunk of change, right? Where you, the veteran business owners, military spouses, are impacting the nation's economy in a great way. So for veteran entrepreneurs out in Utah, thanks for everything you're doing. So we have different resources and additional resources through the SBA. One of them is our flagship Boots to Business program, which many of you may have already taken. We teach that. It's a 2-day class on entrepreneurship, and it's taught to our members of the armed forces who are transitioning, who are ETSing. We have Boots to Business Reboot, which is for veterans of any era, right? And then a lot of those classes are taught through the district offices, John's, for example, John's office, the Boots to Business, and through our veteran business outreach centers. We have 31 business outreach centers throughout the country. I'll provide a map here in a minute to specifically serve veterans. So in addition to the district office, like the one John runs, the one, the gentleman who spoke before, you also have access to the veteran business outreach centers to provide business technical assistance to help you succeed as part of the ecosystem, the business and entrepreneurship ecosystem. And people sometimes ask me what's the best, what's the best way to move forward, is always be part of an entrepreneurial ecosystem. So you're not doing things on your own. So you're not sort of tripping along on your own, as I did with my first company, when you have access to all these business resources, right, to help you provide answers, or to expand your network, right, with other entrepreneurs. Okay, here's some. There's a emphasis on manufacturing, and veterans are a huge part of that. Manufacturing. So here's some numbers on, or some more data and interesting information about veteran manufacturers and business owners. So for you to take a look at. So a lot of the manufacturing is done by small businesses as part of a larger supply chain, right? Even the largest pieces of machinery or aircraft or hardware, it's not always done by that company, right? I mean, for example, Lockheed, Boeing, they have a massive supply chain network of small businesses, and veteran entrepreneurs are a large part of that. And SBA at the district office and through VBOX and the entrepreneurial training programs and resource partners such as the Veteran Business Resource Center at Salt Lake Community College can help you gain access to a lot of those funding opportunities as well, and increase your chances of success. So as I stated, We have a Made in America manufacturing initiative. With the time allowed, I will skip a couple of these slides, but we'll continue. We have a new office. We merged, the agency merged a couple offices into one. So we have a dedicated Office of Manufacturing and Trade to support this effort. John spoke about some of the key loan programs, and part of that, and from it's not just loans, but it's part of the 7A. There's a line of credit, which when I was in business, I didn't have a loan, but I did for two of my companies. I did have a line of credit, and that's how I was able. It gave me more flexibility. And that's how I was able to expand, contract as needed. I mean, that was one of my most important assets, was that getting that line of credit. We have a red tape hotline. So let us know, how we can cut red tape. That's another initiative of our new administrator, Kelly Loeffler, who, as you may or may not know, was a small business owner for years. Here's our network of resource partners nationwide. So the SBA is actually a very big retail operation. We have 68 district offices across the U.S. Utah is one of them, serving the state. And we have additionally, the Office of Veterans Business Development, where I work, has a portfolio of organizations across the country to complement and supplement those business services geared for our very unique and niche constituency and customers, which are veteran entrepreneurs and military spouses. So here's our footprint map. So we cover, we have our 31 Veteran Business Outreach Center, or VBOX. How's that for another acronym for you? The Utah one is out of Montana. Rick, I can't remember his last name, runs there, but he runs that VBOC, but very active in Utah, as John stated. We're trying to get a dedicated, and depends on funding, but we're trying to get a dedicated VBOC to address Utah, among other couple of areas in the country. And then the blue represents the other resources. So we're trying to, the SBA and Office of Veterans Business Development, we're basically trying to cover the full spectrum of business services for veteran entrepreneurs, and create, help create that entrepreneurial ecosystem that I mentioned prior. Here's some of the other broader big SBA resources. John mentioned these as well. SCORE, SBDCs, and Women Business Centers. John covered these. I hope I'm not causing anyone, giving anyone any vertigo as I go through these quickly. Here's our VBOC footprint map. More than 55,000 clients a year, veteran businesses. Here we, boots to business, as I stated before. Here's our course modules. If you're interested, what we cover for, if you haven't taken Boots to Business, here are the 8 modules that we cover. So it's pretty broad, and it's free. How about that? And you get a nifty certificate as well. Entrepreneurship education, right? also have the specialized Boost to Business tailored for military spouses. So just some data, more than 244,000 service member veterans and spouses have been trained, have taken the Boost to Business class. That's a lot of folks. Here's our breakdown of who has taken the class. Let me get to, we also have, through the Office of Veterans Business Development and through our resource partner, Mississippi State University, we have a follow-on course. And this is mainly online. It's like a it's a more in-depth than our Boots to Business class, and it's called Revenue Readiness, right? And they use basically using the business model canvas as a model, right, to develop your business and further establish, identifying clients, distribution channels, and so forth. And you walk out of that class with a business plan, or where you're about 90% there. I'm going to skip through this. So we also have what at the Office of Veterans Business Development. I'll just keep saying I'll say OVBD. We have entrepreneurial training programs to further, and we have a broad range of service delivery. We have 3 tracks: service disabled veteran, ETP, and we have veteran in up in the Boston area. We have the Veterans Entrepreneurship Program at Oklahoma State, St. Joseph's University, Philadelphia, and Warrior Rising also in Utah. We don't have a VBOC yet, but we do have 2 very good partners, resource partners in Utah. We have the women veteran ETPs, which the veteran business VBRC is part of, and we're very enthused to be working with Becky and her group out of the community college. We have the VWISE program, Veteran Women Igniting the Spirit of Entrepreneurship, out of Syracuse University. What VWISE does is they organize 2 business conferences, mainly for women veterans, a year. The next one's going to be in Atlanta, and it's a 2-day conference, I believe. So a lot of panel discussions. I think last year there were about 500 plus women veterans who attended. So again, part of that entrepreneurship ecosystem. And then we have Onabin out of Oklahoma, who works a lot with, and we're very enthused to be working with a resource partner that focuses on the First Nations. I know the Utah district offices in Southern Utah mainly, and the VBRC works with the First Nations as well. So we're very enthused about being able to work with the First Nation veterans in the First Nations. I won't go over this because John covered this pretty thoroughly, but we do have MRIDO, they're called, Military Reservist Economic Injury Disaster Loan. If you're a business owner, perhaps you're a member of the National Guard, and you get called up, or if you're a business owner and hire a lot of reserve and guard members, and they get called up, and it causes an interruption in your operations, you can get a loan for the economic injury caused by these deployments, for example. And terms are extremely favorable. We have SBA express loans for veteran-owned businesses. Guarantee fees have been permanently reduced to zero, 500 max, so 500,000 max. 51% owned and controlled by a veteran or military spouse. So we included military spouse in the federal language. So contracting. If you're interested in federal procurement, Utah has a considerable amount of bases there, right? Or just federal procurement at large. We want more veteran participation. The goal for the government overall is, it started with, there was a 3% goal, now it's up to 5%, right? And the reality is that organically it was almost, it exceeded the 3%, almost reaching 5. So it was an easy policy decision to make. So 5%, from 3 to 5. So to help veterans better prepare, and get certified, right, as a veteran-owned small business or service-disabled veteran-owned small business. So we a couple of years ago, that certification was migrated from the VA to the SBA, and it's a lot more streamlined now, and we're pretty proud of that. So the SBA is in the certification business, which includes the veteran-owned small businesses. And here's the website. If you're not certified, I encourage you, even if you're not in federal procurement, but it provides that immediate, like anyone else doing business with you, it provides that warm and fuzzy feeling that you've been vetted independently and certified to continue to do operations. Here's, a screenshot of the login. How to access it. So we have an MOU with a VA to be able to reach more veterans. We have a mentor protege program, more specifically for federal procurement. And just make sure you're registered in the system for award management. Okay, so here's what I wanted to talk about. So to help veterans better prepare for federal procurement, one of our resource partners, we have a program called Veteran Federal Procurement Entrepreneurship Training Program. VIP teaches a class. There's a Veteran Institute for Procurement teaches a 3-day class, and it's here in Maryland, Potomac, Maryland. 3 tracks. VIP start if you're just getting started, or if you're a sub. This would be your first class. VIP Grow is truly an accelerator to get you from a subcontractor to prime position, to be the prime on contracts. And then VIP International, if you're interested or already doing business with bases overseas or diplomatic missions, embassies overseas, this helps you prepare even more. So the cost to you is 0 for this. There's an application process. The cost to the veteran-owned small business is 0. It's 3 days. All you have to do is get yourself there, but the cost, and you're provided with room and board as well. So the numbers on the success numbers are truly impressive. And I'm putting the web link here in the chat to get information and for the application process. More than 3,000 veterans have graduated and participated to these tracks, through these classes. And I'm looking at the time as well, but we do have a couple federal advisory committees so that we can, our advisory committee on veteran business, small businesses, is comprised of small business founders and owners. That way we have a pulse on the market, right? Any issues affecting veterans, how can we improve? So we have our marquee event. We, meaning the Office of Veterans Business Development, it's in November, the beginning of November, and it's nationwide. So be tuned. I know that Utah participates. So be tuned for those events every year. So here's our contact information, and in the chat, I'm including my email email address, and that's all that I have. Thank you, and standing by for questions.
That's awesome, Jerry. Thank you so much. And John, thank you both for the information that you shared. I was dropping chat links in the chat, so trying to keep up with everything. And we can get these links out to you as well. John did drop his email in the chat. If you have questions about where your local VBOC is, if you have questions about where your local Apex Accelerators group is, they can help you with the government contracting as well. And then any questions for Jerry or for John? You want to bring them back on, Ryan, so we can give a hoopla, and then we'll, if we have our other guests, we'll bring them on too. Thank you both, sincerely. Do you, I have a, let's do a reverse question that people can throw in the chat if they want to. They can answer it now, they can answer it later. Do you have questions for any of our veteran business owners that you would want to know? Or how do we better support you in your roles?
Well, I did want to mention, the Boots to Business, our district office has traditionally been very active in the Boots to Business program here, especially up at Hill Air Force Base. Also active in the National Veteran Small Business Week that Jerry mentioned. We've always held an event then, but we haven't been able to lately because of staffing. But as we bring on more staff, we hope to be a little more involved with the veteran community in those different areas. Also on the I'm glad Jerry mentioned the veteran certifications for the contracting side. That's very important. And Becky, you've mentioned some good resources for helping in that area that we have here locally.
Okay, awesome. Thank you. I think that's great. And just so you know, the conference that we're doing, the Unite conference that we do every year for National Veteran Small Business Week, the big one down in St. George, that is going to be on the first, hold on, because it's the first week of November, correct, Jerry? That's when the National Veteran Small Business Week. Okay, so I'm going to tell you the conference in St. George will be on November 6th. So if you're in Utah, around Utah, come see us, come hang out. It's a really good time. We have a really fun networking event that we do in conjunction with that. Thank you both for being on here. I do want to introduce a couple of other people. Do we have our other folks on, Ryan?
They have not joined us yet.
Oh, well, I will call them out in the audience then. I want to thank Mo Reeder and Lisa Duckworth for being on here as well and chatting with us here in the chat. They are both my vice chairs on the military chapter for Silicon Slopes. And Mo is going to be doing next month's webinar for this series for the strategy stack. And he's got really great, I'm going to pull it up here so we can share it out there. But he's got a really great discussion on cyber education and talking about, he's going to bring on some powerhouse knowledge, and he's going to drop some value bombs for you all. But the topic that he's going to be talking about is service to security, from service to security, translating military experience into cybersecurity careers. So you guys bring mission critical skills to cybersecurity, discipline, risk awareness, systems thinking, and incident response. Some struggle to translate that into experience into civilian tech roles. So Mo Reeder is the VP of Strategic Partnerships at Newmont University, and he's going to break down how veterans can move from military service into cybersecurity careers through stacked education, industry-aligned training. Phenomenal. You're gonna love every minute of it. And then in March, we'll hear from Lisa Duckworth, and she's going to cover some value with our workforce and development that we're working on. So there's a 3-part prong to this webinar series where we talk about business, entrepreneurship. We also talk about cyber education, and we're talking about employment and workforce development. We got 3 great organizations and expertise that we can bring on here. So thank you all for being on here. Ryan, I'm going to kick it to you to take it home.
All right. Well, I want to thank everyone, especially from the SBA and also from Utah VBRC. Appreciate you all for joining us here. Veteran Social Summit is very humbled to just play a very small part of all of this. And stay tuned. Definitely get on our subscription newsletter at www.veteransocialsummit.com, and also join us on our LinkedIn, which is above there, so you can keep up to date on our monthly seminars that we are collaborating with the Utah VBRC on, and leading up to the Veteran Social 26, which is going to be on 9 and 10 September, virtually everywhere. And again, just subscribe, hit us up, www.veteransocialsummit.com. And thank you again, Becky. This has been tremendous today. I think between all of you, between Jerry, John, and you, Becky, you dropped nuclear value on the veteran community. So that's exciting that I could watch that from a safe distance and be a part of that. So appreciate you all. And until next time, we'll see you soon.
Awesome. Go do amazing things, everybody. We'll see you next time.